Separated by cosmic cabinets, Brandon, Paul, and Logan are broadcasting Nintendo stuff live using their telepathic powers. My name is Brandon Miracle, broadcasting live from the Break Room Arcade. If you look south of me in the video version, you'll see Paul Anderson broadcasting from my basement. And if you look to the right of me in the video version, you'll see Logan Welliver, still unclear what to do with his life.
My life is an emotional turmoil. I'm both happy and very sad and very excited and very angry all at once.
Wow, I feel all of that.
And you'll find out why in a second. Well, mostly the happy stuff.
Well, you're not going to find out mine in a second, but...
So, for those of you in the Nintendo would know that there was a Nintendo Direct just a couple hours ago. This is the Direct that we were supposed to have prior week, but was delayed due to the massive earthquake in Hokkaido, Japan. Also, hi, I'm back.
Yeah, you're alive.
Yeah,
welcome back.
I've been gone for a while. As far as I know, I should be back from here on out. We'll see about that.
If not, I'm going to send a strongly worded email.
You should.
To some people.
So we're just gonna go and throw it right in. We usually do Nintendo stuff on Fridays, but obviously we have the Nintendo Direct today. It just makes the most sense for us to do it now.
We didn't want to make you guys wait a whole day to hear us tell you all about this.
Right. Before we get into that, I do have something I want to show. I got this in the mail earlier this week. I got the tip from Brian Altano's Twitter that he knows a guy who does some canvas art of old video game classics, and I ordered one. I got this shot of Super Mario World. It's the scene that plays when you go to a ghost house. I get a little closer. You can see he painted Mario and Yoshi because Yoshi doesn't go into ghost houses, and he really captured the detail of the game really well. Definitely check out his store. I'm plugging. He also sent me this laminated just in the package to go with it, which I thought was nice. Got a little note on the back to come with it.
So
that's really nice.
Is the other one like a print, or is that an original?
It's a print. The canvas version would have been much more expensive.
Okay, cool.
And then Paul brought me the snazzy t-shirt that you see right here, so I'm officially a member of my own show. On top of that, this also arrived in Paul's mailbox.
Oof.
So that's going down at some point. I'm more excited than I should be to play this game.
We are playing Imagine Party Babies. We're going to do that for you guys. Don't know how it's going to turn out, but it should be a good time. But with all of that out of the way, one more quick reminder. If you live in the Chicago area and plan on joining or showing up for the Best Buy Super Smash Bros. Ultimate event on Saturday, we will be there. At least Paul and I will be there, representing the Break Room Arcade, having a good time, standing in line. If you see us, make sure to say hi. We'd definitely like to meet you guys. We know a couple of you are going to be out there, and we're really excited. You will see me because
comfy shoes.
You'll know Paul and I when you see us because we'll be wearing our shirts.
We'll be the most purple people there.
Very purple. Yeah, we plan on being there earlier, so if you're there earlier, you'll probably catch us. Hopefully we get a chance to play. So, you know, all that. Goaty Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Alright, so that brings us to the Nintendo Direct. What an opener. They just kind of threw out Luigi's Mansion 3 right at the start.
Yeah, I was Mr. like ignorant. Like I saw that, and initially I was like, oh, okay, we're talking about the 3DS stuff. Oh, they're talking about Luigi's Mansion for the 3DS. And there was something in my mind that clicked, and I was like, this doesn't look 3DS. Why doesn't it look 3DS?
Because that is not a 3DS game.
I had paused it to catch so that wouldn't be so far ahead of Logan, and then for whatever reason it didn't like stop and then like start back at that point. It just skipped, and so when it came back, it was just the title. So all I saw was Luigi's Mansion 3. And so I missed all of the any footage they showed before that. I'm like, so they're putting this on 3DS, right? Because of course they would.
Now, Nintendo Switch is getting Luigi's Mansion 3 in 2019. I think that's pretty exciting. Something I was anticipating, not necessarily in this direct, because Luigi shows up in the same brand new Poltergust that is in the Super Smash Bros. Simon Belmont trailer. And I remember there not being a lot of buzz about the Poltergust in particular, but, you know, I was shouting out in the echo chamber being like, guys, that's a new Poltergust. Is there a new Luigi's Mansion? And here we are a month later, and they're like, hey, it's a new Luigi's Mansion, and there's the Poltergust.
Now people are listening. You called it.
Yeah. There are a couple people out there talking about it, but not a lot.
Also, I mean, adding to that, like, Dark Moon on the 3DS sold over 5 million units.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah. A sequel, and very, you know, relatively quickly, as opposed to the distance between the original Luigi's Mansion and the second Luigi's Mansion. Yeah, everything, the universe has aligned, and we're getting Luigi's Mansion 3, and we're getting HD Luigi's Mansion.
One of many 2019 Switch games, might I add. The number is growing quite a bit. 2019 might beat out 2017 right now in terms of sheer volume.
There's a certain title that definitely solidifies that statement for me.
And we'll talk about that a little bit later. Next up, they went into some 3DS. It was a nice, quick, short presentation for 3DS. We got Kirby's Extra Epic Yarn, which is a port of Kirby's Epic Yarn from Nintendo Wii.
Ports.
Ports.
I think we're going to get remakes and ports from here on out.
I mean, you have the Switch, which is your portable home console, and then you have your 3DS, which is your portable port machine.
Well, we talked about 3DS getting another remake, and, well, we nailed it, because Kirby's Extra Epic Yarn is on the way.
I would have been my guess of the game, but, I mean, I'm happy to see it there, I guess.
I was getting a phone call during Extra Epic Yarn, so I didn't hear what the extra part of the Extra Epic Yarn was.
You know, I can't recall it either because I was just so disinterested. And I mean, I've said this on the show and on other videos before that I don't care about the 3DS anymore. Like, I understand why Nintendo's supporting it and why they're trickling out like a few titles here and there to get people to buy all the ones that are still on the store shelves. And then obviously they keep making new versions of it, obviously with the clamshell 2DS design, you know, a few months ago. So I understand it, but I'm like, again, and I had Kirby's Epic Yarn on the Wii, and honestly, for me, it got really old really quick. And maybe that's just because of the really easygoing and casual gameplay, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if I remember right, you can't die in that game.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Sandman says new mini games, power-ups, and some other stuff.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds about right for a lot of these ports, is there's a little, here's new power-ups, here's some new visual stuff. We're gonna add Poochie. They didn't add Poochie, but that's the idea, right?
All I'm really like thankful for here is that they didn't announce anything like new and like truly engaging for the 3DS. You know, if you want to throw Kirby's Epic Yarn on there, you know, more power to you. I probably won't buy it, but it doesn't hurt me by having it there. If they did like Luigi's Mansion 3 on the 3DS, I'd be very upset.
I also feel like at some point the 3DS will like officially just be dead, and then they'll port all of these ports to the Switch.
It's okay though, because it is already dead in here.
Yeah, it's still selling. There's still a market for it, hence why they're still doing these. But they're obviously not dedicating a ton of resources. They're more like, here's a bunch of people who own 3DSs, and most of the people who own 3DSs never played these games because they came out when these people were too young, and these are solid titles and they'll run well in the 3DS. So let's just keep giving them reasons to buy games. And obviously, if you don't own a 3DS, it's got a great back catalog, you know. So there's plenty of reasons to own a 3DS if you don't already own a 3DS.
Yeah, no, I think we're in good shape so far. As far as 3DS is concerned, I think it's just going to continue to be these types of experiences that aren't like must-buys, but just good filler material to, you know, drive sales forward a little bit more. So yeah, I think that's just going to be the way it is. Like, I mean, with our next game, Mario and Luigi 3, Bowser's Inside Story, they talked a little bit more about that remake, gave us a little more insight into the Bowser's Minions extra side mode. I mean, it is what it is. Not super interested in that aspect as much as I am just the remake in general, because Mario and Luigi 3, in my opinion, is the best in the series. So if you like those games, this is the one to buy. But, you know, that is what it is. We didn't learn a ton about that. What we did learn is that the Luigi's Mansion remake on 3DS will feature a co-op mode, which I thought was a neat addition.
Definitely.
Again, phone call during the segment, so I didn't get to hear specifically about the co-op, but it looks like
all the important things.
Looks like you have
like
to.
That's part of it, man.
Yeah, you're
just downhill from there.
I guess so.
Yeah, you'll need to both have the game to do the co-op.
Okay, I read that on screen. I knew that much.
Right, but you can there's download play, but it's only for the boss rush, and you just play as a green Luigi, like a greener Luigi, just a
green ghost Luigi.
I thought it was a ghost Luigi from.
Yeah.
What an interesting touch. Oh, hey, you're fighting all these ghosts, and then you can play as one too.
Yeah. So the added co-op multiplayer, the added value, you know, I think it's enough to justify like a purchase, because I've never played through Luigi's Mansion. So unless I find a copy for my GameCube, you know, this might be a decent alternative, but I'm
going to be completely honest. Buy the GameCube version. I am not super impressed with the 3DS version so far. In terms of graphical fidelity, obviously there's a drop that I don't appreciate.
Right.
And then the analog triggers, which isn't important to Luigi's Mansion, was an added touch. And then the controls will probably be a little bit better on GameCube. That said, like, if you've never played Luigi's Mansion, this is a good way to do that.
Yeah.
Probably not the way I will prefer to play it, personally. And that was it for 3DS, I think. Was there anything else after Luigi's Mansion?
Nope. There was just those things.
That brings us
5 minutes.
Yeah, really short time.
And then it was sandwiched by Switch stuff, too. It was like, it was made less significant by the fact that they were like, here's Luigi's Mansion 3. But I understand why they did that. They wanted to throw people off, because we were all anticipating that they would talk about Luigi's Mansion Remake on the 3DS. But then they were like, oh, here's Luigi's Mansion 3, guys. And we're like, thanks, Nintendo.
That brings us right into Nintendo Switch, and they opened things up with the Splatoon 2 version 4 update trailer.
Yeah, more content.
Which was an anime intro parody, by the way, if you didn't catch that.
I got that feeling.
It even ends with, like, the sponsors of the show written in Splatoon 2 language at the end, which I thought was cute.
Yeah. And they didn't even give a lot of information. They kind of threw us to...
They did point us to the Squid Research Lab for more information.
Right, which is what I was literally just about to say. Which is understandable, and I just brought that up. But it also doesn't sound like there's a ton. There's like a bunch of new gear.
Really? This looks like one of the biggest updates for Splatoon 2 to me. In terms of just sheer content.
Well, I guess I didn't see how much content. I know they had like
new gear, new special attacks, new subs. That's the first time we've gotten new ones since launch, except for the bubbler, I think.
Right. I guess I haven't looked it up yet. I don't. What's the 10 times battle? What's the 100 times battle?
They did not explain what Turf War times 100 is.
That'll be fun to find out.
And dude, I'm looking for it here.
There's some people saying it could be 50 versus 50. Some people saying it's a battle royale. I don't think Splatoon on Switch
these
is ready
rare matches,
to handle that.
Okay, here we go. In addition to the above, 10 times battle will be added in both divisions. These are rare matches. This is coming right from the Squid Lab. These are rare matches that will occur if you are lucky. And if you win, your contribution points will be multiplied by 10. Believe it or not, there's a rumor that a super rare 100 times battle will occur. If your friend wins a 10 times battle or if somebody wins a 100 times battle, teams may appear on the big screen in Inkopolis Square. Also, if you are in the lobby or during matchmaking, such information will pop up on the screen, like newsflash, team nicknames. So it doesn't even sound like anything changes. It's just like a rare thing that comes up, and then
it sounds like your contribution to Splatfests is more important.
Yeah, and it sounds like it's exclusive to Splatfest.
Okay.
So this isn't as exciting as it made it out to be. Everyone's like, oh, Battle Royale, but that's like not even close.
That's still cool.
Yeah, it is still cool.
Especially if you get 10 times or 100 times the experience points and money.
I'll take it. Shoot.
I don't think that's it. I don't think it gives you more experience points. It just adds to the contribution to, you know, your actual
At the very least, it makes your battle during a Splatfest feel really significant, which I think is important.
I think they're trying to balance out
yeah, I don't.
all the people that like
we haven't done it.
The one team that always loses us.
Well, if your team wins, you're like, oh, I just contributed 100 wins to my team with one match.
So we just need to win that one match, guys, and then we'll
make up for all of our losses.
I want to know what the point is. Like, is it like a balancing thing? You know,
that's what I'm saying. I think it's a balancing thing.
It might show up on the team that has. Well, I don't know if it would show up on Well, actually, I really don't know the circumstances in which that would show up.
Yeah, I don't really have a lot to say about this.
I don't think there has to be a point necessarily. I think it's just cool.
It's just an added feature, and I don't think it's terribly special. I'm actually much more interested in the Spirit Bomb. Did you guys see the Spirit Bomb?
I did. That was the very end of the trailer.
That was the new subs and special weapons. I think
there was like a hand grenade that you shake before you throw it, which I thought was cool.
Yeah, and then the new stage, and I just again the Splat Bomb, not the Splat Bomb, the Spirit Bomb. It was like just so like okay,
the Spirit Splat.
Do it. And also it should note that like all of this is to be continued. There's a graphic here. It just says to be continued. So who knows? Maybe we're gonna get more subs and more specials. And obviously they announced, earlier that they're continuing to support Splatoon 2. And that's what this is, and we're still getting more.
Moogles in the chat says this is definitely balancing. The most popular teams continue to lose. And I was going to say that, but it doesn't matter, because if the popular team loses the match, that's just 100 wins that went to the other team anyway.
Yeah.
Then it means that their loss is even more spectacular.
But I guess you could say that there is a higher likelihood that the more popular team would have more chances to win these. And so, like, it's not like, oh, we won 5 and we lost 5. If you win 5, like of the 100, and then the 6th one or something like that is the other team, then that is a much larger difference. And maybe, and a lot of the times, like the win totals are really close, like they're 0.2% apart, and so maybe that can make the difference.
Yeah. That said, with every single one of those matches, it's still a 50-50 shot, at least in terms of, hey, this team can win or the other team could win.
Yeah.
And then there's also new gear, which comes with every update, and a new line of weapons that, from what I understand, are just like new deco versions of pre-existing weapons. So I think they're calling them Kensa. That's the new brand name.
Yeah.
So you might get a new version of your favorite weapon. Assuming
I like
these will probably have the new sub and special combos.
Right.
That's my guess.
Dualies. I need more.
I love Splatoon 2.
Then they quickly talked about Mega Man 11. Demo for that is already out. This is presumably one of the things that they would have revealed in the Direct. They announced... Well, they didn't announce, but they talked about the Amiibo functionality, which seemed pretty limited, just like all Amiibo functionality.
Yeah.
So, not much to talk about there. They announced some updates for Mario Tennis Aces. Birdo, Shy Guy, Paratroopa, and PD Piranha are all in the way. They are adding updates until next June. I'm glad that they gave us a date for how long we're getting support. But the cool thing is they are bringing in online co-op missions. Apparently, they will be limited time co-op missions, so I'm assuming there will be a variety. And when you win them, you can get like outfits or alt skins for your characters, which is pretty cool, in my opinion.
The chain chomp with the hat was just too much.
So good.
I love it.
I want a chain chomp with like a grill.
Yeah, I thought Boo with the golf cap and the tennis cap was particularly adorable.
Adrian is saying, I doubt that there will be another Smash Direct before release. I think there will 100% be another Smash Direct before release.
They still have a handful of major things they haven't revealed yet that need to be addressed.
There's another Direct.
Like Spirits.
It would be like a week or two before launch.
Yeah, or Paul, you're missing the most important reveal. Waluigi in Smash.
Monster Hunter.
The last Direct will be before review copies go out. Because Sakurai
we'll
wants
pretty
all
much
characters
know
to be announced.
everything about this game before it comes out. Maybe minus a few minor things, but...
Next up, Capcom Beat 'em Up Bundle. Final Fight, The King of Dragons, Captain Commando, Knights of the Round, Warriors of Fate, Armored Warriors, Battle Circuit are all coming with 4-player online play on September 18th. So
I honestly thought at first that these were all going to be like individual titles on the eShop. I don't know if it being a bundle makes it more appealing to me or not. But
it does for me.
It's cool.
I have no personal history with any of these games, but
now's the time.
I'm sure if you were growing up in the arcade era and you played a lot of these, this is a good bundle.
Okay, I'll say this. I am a huge fan of just like 16-bit style beat 'em ups, like this specific style of beat 'em up. And I remember playing like on the SNES back in the day, playing like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and just having a blast. So I don't have a history with any of these games necessarily, but maybe that's the point. It's like, okay, do you guys like beat 'em ups? Well, here's a bunch of them to play, you know? And so I think this package is just, it's meant for those people who like beat 'em ups.
Do you feel targeted?
I feel very targeted. I feel very targeted, and thank God. And
their marketing's on point.
And the fact that it's online, so if I can convince like some friends to buy this on Switch as well, then I'd love to play this. It'd be great. And it's like up to 4 players, you know, and local play is also great. I'd love to just, you know, pop it in or download it, because I'll probably download. I don't think there's a physical thing. And this comes out the same day as online, so I'll get my online subscription.
Here's
and
your
then
big online game, everybody. Capcom Beat 'em Up.
And then
That's the one.
Oh, and then okay, like I'm moving soon, and I'm gonna have 2 new roommates, and I hope they're fans of beat 'em ups, because this will be a lot of fun to play with roommates.
Moving on, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe is coming to Nintendo Switch, January 11th. It features all the levels from the original plus Super Luigi U and
funky mode
and new funky Toadette mode.
Peachette.
What in the world is a Peachette?
What's the purpose other than
when
like
Toadette, when Toadette gets a gold
now.
crown, she turns into Peachette, which is just Princess Peach in a new dress. I'm so confused.
They couldn't have just added Peach as a character.
That would have been the smart way to do it.
Peach is essentially in the game. Her moveset is in the game now.
They
But
added.
Peach isn't an actual character.
They just added 2 characters and made them the same one.
It's ridiculous. I mean, despite
Just
that,
an Echo character.
despite that, I think I'm still going to pick this up and play it. As much as I'm confused by it.
It's a
Do you know
great
what this
game.
means now? This means if Nintendo does not include Peachette as an alternative skin for Peach, they're failing. In Smash. I should clarify, but you guys understood that.
Moogle says, is Peach a toad? Well, her name is Princess Toadstool.
That makes me wonder about all the other Toads and what happens when they get the Super Crown.
I was saying that before the show. Does that mean Toad just becomes Mario?
I wonder if it becomes something even better than that.
Okay, can we
No,
get
it'd be
off
better.
of that
Even
for a
better
second?
than
Because I just want to, I want to say how excited I am to finally be able to play this game, and then also just have 2D Mario on my Switch. I've been talking about, hey, where's new Super Mario Bros. U on our Switch? Where's the port? We all knew it was coming, but now that it's here, and also, what a snazzy logo. What a very, very snazzy logo.
It is pretty nice looking.
Yeah.
It also falls in line with the deluxe titling from previous Wii U to Switch games, but also Super Mario Bros. Deluxe on Game Boy Color.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
So it's the first time we've gone back to that name, and it's being released on a portable, so kind of cool.
Yeah, this is great. Give it to me. January 11th couldn't come soon enough.
Only downside for me is I was really pulling for them to add online. I was like, they could do it here. That'd be great. But they didn't. Seems like they didn't pull the trigger. So that's
Why would they want us to play online? Why would they want to give us an incentive to buy their online service? You know, that's crazy.
Moving along, we got Katamari Damacy reroll. HD
Yes.
remaster of the original game.
Yes. So this was trademarked.
I did not talk to you, Siri.
Master of the original game
Okay, Katamari Damacy was a game that was originally released on the PS2. I've always wanted to play this game, and I've never gotten the chance. Because I remember finding it and discovering it, like, I want to say maybe in college, and just being like, this looks incredible. It looks like the kind of zany that I want to play. And so when it was revealed that they trademarked it, I'm like, ooh, it sounds like we're getting a remaster. And the fact that it's coming to Switch is even better. Winter of 2018. Does that mean it's coming out in December, or does that also include January and February? That's what I was thinking, because obviously it's not exactly clear cut, but that's what I imagine. This is something. This is a no-brainer for Logan. Logan is going to pick this up.
Yeah, I'll probably pick this game up too. It's one I've also always wanted to play. I love the idea behind it. I think it's really funny. It's got a great style behind it. A lot of fans in the chat for Katamari. So, yeah, good legacy behind that one.
I can't believe it's in Smash.
Oh. And welcome to the sticking point of the Nintendo Direct, this segment they did on Nintendo Switch Online, where they effectively told us nothing.
They told us everything. And they didn't even mention the fact that cloud saves won't be available for every game, which seems like a really important like caveat, you know?
Because they didn't
like,
want to shoot themselves in the foot by saying that in the presentation.
Well, I mean, they
Get
already
people
shot
upset about it
themselves in
before
the
it's
foot.
even available. That's the way
So-
to do it. Way to go, Nintendo.
We finally get a sequel to that adorable parental controls trailer with Bowser and Bowser Jr., and it has to be about something that I was very upset about.
Yeah. I think time will tell. I'm going to pay for it because one, it's not that expensive, especially for $20 for a year and then $35 for up to 8 people in a family group, which makes it a whole lot cheaper. So it's not that expensive. the NES library is going to grow, and so that $20 will seem a little bit more like, oh, that's a no-brainer, especially if you're into NES games. Hopefully the special offers, if you buy a lot of games, will offset that $20, so eventually it'll just pay for itself. So I think the value is there, but I think we all just want more.
Yes,
right?
the value is there, and I think you're right. And people are focusing way too much on the things that are wrong. We were at a point where we didn't have cloud saves before, so I'm just happy to be getting them at all at this point.
Yeah. Like if they wanted $60 a year for this, then it would be unacceptable.
Yeah.
But at $20 a year, I just hope that they continue working on it, and if they raise the price year after year as they add more things, because Nintendo's still getting their feet wet, right? They're still trying to figure these things out, and it seems weird that they haven't. But this is the reality we're dealing with. Nintendo still doesn't know what they're doing. And so a lower price point, doing less at the start, I think is probably best for Nintendo.
Really, the only thing we learned new is that the NES library is a confirmed thing to continue growing.
Yeah.
I don't think they explicitly stated what those other 10 NES games are, but I think they were just in the video and they didn't talk about it.
Yeah. Well, I also don't think it's terribly important. Like, you could announce any number of NES games and people would still shrug.
Yeah, I mean, they made no mention of going beyond NES, going to SNES or N64. But as much as we complain, we're going to pay for this anyway because I want to play Smash Online.
I was going to say I want to keep playing Splatoon.
Well, that too.
I paid for that, man. I got to keep playing online.
That's the real reason they delayed it. It's like, nobody's going to pay for online if we don't have Smash. And Smash better be server-based online.
I don't think
it better be server-based online.
I think there's like a solid 14% chance that we're getting server-based for Smash.
Oh, is online for Smash gonna suck?
Probably. I mean, it wasn't that bad on Wii U, but you really couldn't play with randos with more than 2 people.
Right, but that's what I want to do. I mean, that's the whole point.
I don't personally, but like
I want the freedom to do it. And
no, I totally
experience.
agree. Like, it should be fully capable of handling it. But I fully anticipate I'm going to buy an Ethernet adapter for my Switch just to make sure that the game runs well.
Yeah, I'm
that
planning
said, they haven't talked about online for Smash, so who knows? They're working with Bandai Namco, which in my opinion has a pretty good track record with their online services. I don't know if they're having any touching points or if they're working on that at all with Nintendo outside of just the game engine. Who knows?
Yeah. Hopefully there's a silver lining. Hopefully we get something from Nintendo. Throw us a bone at the very least for something like Smash Bros.
Moogles in the chat says it will not be server-based. I can guarantee it.
I know.
I would be shocked if it was. I just don't see that happening.
I'm going to cry again.
They also announced NES controller Joy-Cons, which was cute.
Yes.
$60.
Play every game with them. I'm gonna use 2 D-pads to navigate every 3D game world from now on. Why else would you play?
I love how dumb it looked when they put them, locked them into the Switch. It was so funny looking.
Well, I think I figured it out, right? I figured out. I mean, it's not there so you can play with your Switch with 2 NES controllers on it. It's for charging.
Yeah.
So I mean, you could just give it a plug like a normal company.
We don't have
but the fact that they went out of their way to make it slide onto the dock so that you could charge it that way.
I dig that it's wireless. I think it's pretty cool.
Yes.
Put a
little USB-C on the side so you can plug in using your adapter and then.
Oh yeah, that would be nice to have.
That would have been the normal way to do it, but I like their approach better because it's dumb. And I love it. I love how dumb it is.
I think it's a nice option. I think it's a nice option to have these NES controllers, even though I don't anticipate spending $60 on a pair.
That said, the pricing isn't terrible, but it's also not great.
Because it's an NES controller. There's like 4 inputs, 5 inputs.
You got your D-pad, start, select, and A and B. And they're still rectangular and will still hurt your hands.
Oof.
Google's in the chat says fighting games use peer-to-peer to begin with. Just going back to that for a second. And he also says, I want the NES Joy-Cons attached to my Switch forever.
Yeah.
So let's move away from Nintendo Switch Online. We're going to let that simmer for a while.
We're going to breathe. We'll come back to this later.
We're going to wait till Sakurai comes back and tells us all the good word. You know, he's going to be the one to save us. That said, here's something I'm really happy about, even though they didn't tell us anything new. But Pokemon Let's Go, I love every time I get to see this game because it's adorable. I get to pet my Pikachu and rub his hair until it changes styles, which is amazing. That's
the cutest thing, right? I think that's the biggest draw. Obviously, this game is a remake of Yellow. And they just give extra care to like, okay, here's your main Pokemon and you can love on them in even more ways. And I'm like, this is adorable.
It's like focused Pokemon and me, but you only get to do it with one Pokemon. But like they make it a lot more fun and engaging.
It makes you attached to that starter just that much more, which I think it's a special bond. The first Pokemon you get to choose.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, hence the branding of these games, right? It's not Pokemon Yellow. It's Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. So you know exactly what you're getting into.
Let's go, little buddy.
And I feel sorry for everybody who's just going to go with Pikachu just because Pikachu is one of the most popular Pokemon because Eevee's objectively better.
I'm going with Pikachu because I love Pikachu, so... I mean...
I'm going with Eevee because my Twitter poll said...
And if I get one of these games, I will go with Eevee.
I am one out of 4 people getting Pikachu edition. So you're going to have to come to me for all of the trades you need. A couple of things we talked about is the secret techniques, which are the official replacement for HMs in the context of Pokemon Let's Go. Only your Pikachu or Eevee can learn these moves. They assume that Pokemon's always going to be with you, so that just makes sense. I'm pretty cool with that. I think that's pretty neat. They can
also, it doesn't sound like they're going to be taking up any slots for your Pokemon's move, which is also really great.
Yeah. On top of that, I don't remember if they talked about it in the Direct necessarily, but they announced some secret moves that the Pokemon can use. There'll be a little icon above the fight button. You'll see your Pokemon with the Joy-Con shaking it back and forth to indicate, hey, if you want to use the secret technique, shake your Joy-Con. For Pikachu, I think it's like Splishy Splash. Or no, there's an electric attack it can use. I forget the name of. And Eevee also has an attack like that. But you can only use it when you're given the indication that it's available. You can also use them when that Pokemon is not currently on the field. And instead of doing the attack itself, it will do some kind of like stat boost or benefit to the Pokemon currently out in the battle for you. And I think that's pretty cool.
Helping out his little homie. I dig that.
Yeah, this game is very, very much geared towards a even more casual audience. Hence
I feel targeted.
The Let's Go branding and the interaction with Pokemon Let's Go, which is okay considering we're getting like a true. It's a mainline Pokemon game, not a core Pokemon game, and the branding is very specific about that. You know.
I mean, I'm gonna treat this like a new Pokemon game. Pokemon Yellow was my first.
It is. It's a Pokemon game. But in terms of like, is this what generation are we in? Or this is going to be
Gen
generation
8 is on the way.
Okay, so this isn't necessarily Gen 8. You know, this is like a stopgap between generations.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty good. I'm excited to see what they're going to do next year. They're going to release Pokemon Gen 8 next year in a year full of incredible first-party Nintendo titles. Next year is stacked. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention. We're going to talk about that a little later.
I'm going to go to the bank tomorrow, and I'm going to take out a very large loan.
The Nintendo
I can
loan.
afford all these games.
They also brought up the Switch bundles, which I think are adorable. The Pikachu and Eevee, plus the Pikachu and Eevee colored Joy-Cons, which I think are fantastic. I love that.
Yeah, we finally get some like really visually appealing and unique Switch, bundles.
This is the very first special edition. So this is a
all
landmark.
The other bundles might come with like different colored Joy-Cons, specifically the Splatoon bundle, but actual designs, on the console itself and on the dock, like, where was this? I mean, I kind of, in that way, I feel like, oh man, I wish I would have waited to buy a Switch, but I don't wish that.
And I believe they say that they are selling them all separately too, including the dock. So you could just buy the dock with the special designs on it.
Nice.
Very good move.
I don't know if I'd buy that dock.
There's another one that you might be interested in, but we'll talk about in a little bit.
Yes.
Yep, so I'm still excited for Pokemon Let's Go. I saw it on Twitter, but there was a screenshot of the game corner in Celadon City, where you get your Eevee in the original games. And in the very far left corner, you can just see the backside of Jesse and James sitting at a machine.
Oh my God.
Playing the games. So it occurred to me that Jesse and James will actually be as recurring as they are in the anime.
That's amazing.
If you just run into them doing dumb things on their own outside of wanting to beat you, I will be into that.
This game's gonna sell so well.
Yeah. It's definitely catering to me as a fan, and then not catering to people as fans. It's very weird. As a fan of the anime, I feel very targeted, but there are a lot of people who are not excited about this game at all. That said, Diablo 3 still coming to Switch. Details some amiibo support, which is really okay, I guess. Spawn some enemies where you can get some goodies. Really just seems like cheating, personally.
Drops November 2nd, will cost a full $60.
Online multiplayer.
Yay.
Online multiplayer. And Ganondorf.
Selling on Switch Online.
Oh yeah, it's got the Ganondorf outfit that you can get, which I think is cool. Yeah. On top of that, we got Super Mario Party. They did not talk a ton about this. They did detail a few things. They talked about a soundstage mode. Did not really even tell us what it's about. They went into river survival, which we learned about during. When did we learn about that? That wasn't at E3 this year. That was somewhere else.
There was an upload that they did. They just uploaded the treehouse, playing, it was an hour-long video or something like that.
It was during a UK event that they revealed it there and then uploaded it for North American audiences.
Right, and I watched that whole thing. I loved it.
Yeah, I think it's cool. They went into Toad's Rec Room a little bit, the multi-switch kind of tabletop game mode where you can arrange them in cool ways and do some stuff. They're still only showing the one mini game from that, but if they call it Toad's Rec Room, I'm assuming there will be more than just that.
Yeah,
that'd be the hope.
I'll say this, obviously this is the most exciting Mario Party in years, right?
Yeah, I plan on buying this for once.
Yeah, I think this might end up being the next game that I buy, unless I'm forgetting anything else that comes out before then. But again, I'm moving, and I'll have 2 roommates again, and so this will be, that just adds value.
It's a great way to break in Super Mario Party.
Yeah.
On top of that, they detailed a challenge road, which is something that the original 3 Mario Party games had, a little minigame island thing where you go along and you play minigame challenges. I like that, because I used to love that when I was a kid, so I'm glad that's coming back. They talked about the online Mario-a-thon mode. Mario-thon, I guess, where you play mini games with people online. I don't really care at all, because I can't play my boards online. That's what I want to do.
Right.
I'm probably going to play it at least, but it's not going to last nearly as long as just playing boards would have. There would have been streams all the time of us playing Mario Party boards. That said, still plan on doing some streams of that just in person. So look forward to that. And then here was an announcement I wasn't expecting. A new RPG from Game Freak called Town.
Oh, man. This game looks so amazing.
Yeah. What a surprise.
We've seen so little of it.
It's
but
adorable.
It's such a delightful looking game.
My face lit up this moment I saw it. I was like, this, I don't even know. You don't have to tell me anything else about this game. You can tell me Game Freak. You tell me that it's an RPG. And then you show me how adorable it is. I was sold. I was like, take my money. Take my money. I'm poor as heck. And sometimes I wonder if I'll be able to eat from week to week. But man, take my money.
Why would you need to eat if you have this game?
We should talk about the concept, though. It's that the whole story takes place in this one town, and then monsters come and attack, and your villagers, weird to say that, can aid you in different ways, and like you have to team up and prepare for these battles and save the town. I love the whole concept behind this.
Yeah.
Town is the working title. Well, I want it just to be Town because I think that's great.
What is Town an acronym for?
Tower. Only we know.
Oh no.
We now.
It's gonna be like Steam. Codename Steam.
Can we talk about like how great like the animations for the characters were? I was really impressed with how this game looked.
It's very stylized. I mean, I've seen games that are very cutesy like it and very like chibi and like, ooh, we got our heads are a little too round and stuff like that. But this is it's very distinct and I like it a lot.
I'm gonna keep my eyes on this game, and I'm not the kind of guy that usually goes for RPGs because it's not really my thing. That said, RPGs are all I've been playing for the last like 2 weeks. So yeah, excited for that. That's another 2019 game to look out for. The next game, I don't remember if this was previously announced or not, but it was a neat surprise. Cities Skylines is out now, with all the DLC included on Nintendo Switch.
Not all the DLC. Not all the DLC. It has After Dark, which includes a day-night cycle as opposed. No, it already had a day-night cycle, but it adds more like night activities and stuff like that, and then Snowfall, which adds more weather and a few other things.
Sounds like Sims packs.
Yeah, well, they are, but the game also launched at $30, so it wasn't a full $60 title. And I imagine it's probably $30 on the Switch as well, but I also haven't looked up.
You gotta pay that Switch tax.
I'm a huge fan of this. I have City Skyline on my PC, and I definitely feel like I should play it more. But again, I have so many things going on. So I
you
feel
need
like
on your Switch.
Yeah, put it on my Switch.
So you need to buy it again.
Single-player game.
So you can't play it. So you don't play it again.
Right. But if I can play it like anywhere, again, it adds a lot of value. Now I want to look up to see if it costs at $30 or unless they repriced it for Switch or console, I should say.
So yeah, there's a great variety of games available on Switch and that are coming out for Switch. I think that was further proven by today's announcements. But while Logan's looking that up, we'll move into the next game, which was Daemon X Machina, which was announced during E3 to very little fanfare because they didn't really talk about it in the context of the Direct, but they did in the Treehouse. I was really interested in this game in the Direct this time. Just like, you haul enemy weapons back to your base and then you can use them, or like use them in your mech. I like the way that the combat looks. Like, I feel like I would enjoy playing this particular game.
Yes.
You can exit your vehicles during battle, which doesn't really seem to have a purpose, but I just love that anyway.
Can you die?
Right.
That would be my question. Can you die when you're just running around as a little human on the field?
I'll say this. One, City Skylines on the Switch is going to be $40, which isn't unreasonable. And two, concerning Daemon X Machina, I think just from a standpoint of, I like the idea of there being that separation between your actual character and the fact that you're piloting a mech. So even if it's just that, which I don't anticipate, I anticipate there being some gameplay elements where you need to get out and you need to maybe access some points that you can't as your mech, or collect certain items, So there's probably utility in it, but it also just adds a little bit more of like a separation, saying, because I think it's so much cooler to think that like, okay, I'm a little dude in a mech and not just a mech. For example, the Mech Warrior games, or there was one on the Xbox called Mech Assault, right? And if your mech was destroyed, you came out as a little person. You couldn't do anything, and I think eventually you would just die or you just respawn. But I thought that was important just for the presentation, which again I think is important when you have this thing where like, oh, I'm piloting something. You want to know that like I'm a little person inside of it. I guess I have the same feeling about like Star Fox, which is why I like something like Star Fox Assault so much, because you do have the mode where you're like, these actual characters, and I'm not just them in the ship, you know.
It reminded me of Kirby Air Ride City Trial mode, where your air ride machine could be destroyed, and then you'd have to walk around as Kirby and go find another one.
Yeah.
The only utility for that was just to find another air ride machine, but you could still just jump off your air ride machine if you wanted to. So
imagine if you could steal enemy mechs, and if that was part of the utility of it.
Maybe it is. Maybe like you can
that'd
just
be cool, or jump in your friend's mech in multiplayer.
See, the cool thing would be is if they made it so you could get out of your mechs and actually just fist fight the other pilot.
We should,
I would love that.
We should keep going a little bit. Actually, Chaos Control said you being able to leave your mech reminds me of Star Fox Assault's multiplayer. So, yes, you and Logan are on the same page there.
Yep.
Let's see. They talked about. Let me see if I can find it. You can enhance your human abilities, which will have effects on your actual mech, which I thought was cool. I like the idea behind that. As you say, Logan, there's that separation, but there's also that unified approach. Like how I change myself affects how my mech is going to operate in the field.
Right.
And then the 4-player online multiplayer was probably the selling point for me. I was like, I'm already pretty close. I really like the way this looks. You tell me there's online, I'm like, all right, I'm going to buy it.
Yeah. I like this game just because I love the idea of mechs and stuff like that.
This feels
I like the idea of piloting.
This feels like the mech game I've always wanted.
This is anime.
Yes, it is. Reminds me of Evangelion a lot, which is a good thing.
I can go Gurren, but
I mean, they're both mech.
One's happy.
Right. Evangelion's very happy. So moving on to an actual happy game, we got Yoshi's Crafted World, which doesn't look that much different than when they showed us the game the first time. I think a lot of people were expecting it to look a lot different because of the big delay. I was not one of those people, and here we are, and it looks like the game I saw the first time.
Though we did get to see more examples of like the perspective and how it flips around, and I really liked that. I think that
they kind
active like visual, just visual activity, and then playing with the fact that it's all crafted, and like you turn it around and all of a sudden those clouds are like attached to straws and taped on the back, and
they kind of pitched the game specifically with the flipping mechanic the first time, and they've kind of walked away from that, I think, as the focus of the game's gameplay. So now it's a feature and not the game.
Right.
Which I think is the right approach, personally. I like that this isn't just like a basic Yoshi platformer. There's some cool stuff going on here. They play with 3D a little bit. Because there's been a lot of Nintendo 2D platformers in the last 10 years, and I'm getting tired of them. So,
remember when they stopped making 2D platformers during the 3D era? They were like, 2D's old. We don't need that anymore.
I was very excited about New Super Mario Brothers on DS.
They're like, we get 2D platformers back. And then like everybody's like, oh, wait, why did we ever stop making those?
Everyone was obsessed with 3D and new tech. Well,
sometimes it didn't work out. Sonic.
One of the most exciting things in the Direct for me, they talked about Asmodee Digital bringing full adaptations of tabletop games to Switch. That's awesome. We knew that Carcassonne was coming, but we didn't know about Lord of the Rings, the living card game, Pandemic, Catan, a dungeon crawler version of Munchkin. There's some cool games coming to Switch. I'm very excited for.
I love Carcassonne. It's not in my room right now. But
don't love
several years ago, actually during college,
Sleep with it.
as a gift that I asked for, I got a big box Carcassonne, which came with the base game and then 5 expansions. I love that game. I've been playing it for years. Catan is also one of my all-time favorite board games, and these are just great. These are great games to bring to the Switch.
There was one game they showed. It was Pandemic, and at first I thought it was
Risk.
Not Risk.
I thought it was Risk.
What is the game? I play it with Josiah. The name escapes me right now. It's a tactical game. People were comparing Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle to it. What is the name of that series?
I don't know.
What did you say, Paul?
SOCOM?
Yes. XCOM. Jesus.
Oh.
Yes, I thought it was going to be the XCOM board game, which I love. And I was like, yep, buying that. And then it wasn't. But I'll probably buy Pandemic anyway. Yeah, that just like escaped my mind. It was gone. Like, well, that's never coming back. Moogle says, Asmodee is very hit or miss with the quality of their games. Well, we'll see how that turns out when it comes to
Yeah, let's hope
Switch.
the good ones are good.
I hope the good ones are good. And he also said XCOM. Thank you. Civ 6, 4-player local multiplayer, November 16th. Wasn't expecting the local multiplayer at all.
I don't know why you wouldn't have, because they have local on PC.
I don't know why you would have it on PC.
Because it's always been there. And because why would you not? And they did like the hot seat thing, right?
Oh, see, that's why
like
I wouldn't think it would be there.
Right. So you trade off. I think that's great. I think Civ 6 is great. I haven't played as much Civ 6 as I would have liked. I've played plenty of Civ 5. I have like over 200 hours in Civ 5. But having this on my Switch, again, it's just, there's some times where I'm like, I sit down at my PC and I play certain games. I play GTA 5. I play these really, really pretty games. I play games that are only available on PC. I don't know. I think, but Civ 6, like, I haven't gotten around to. And so having this on my Switch is like,
yeah, definitely a good announcement. Good fall game. Just throw that in there
Also,
towards the end of the year.
Maybe it's like, just having your Switch and then being able to, like, okay, I did my turn, and then just giving your Switch to the person, like, right there. Maybe you're just somewhere. I don't know. Maybe
Be a
you're
good
at
game
McDonald's.
for car trips.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, glad to see that coming to the Nintendo Switch. A lot of like these RTS style or like top-down management-based games coming to Switch, which I think is cool. Next game, Starlink Battle for Atlas. They revealed Wolf's look in the game. A lot of people are saying they revealed Wolf at all, which is just not true because they've been talking about Wolf since they revealed Star Fox. Because that is Fox's goal, is to find Wolf, because apparently Wolf did some bad stuff. There will be exclusive missions in the game for Fox and company, which I assume will be them taking down Wolf. We don't know why Wolf is in Atlas at all, so that'll be pretty interesting. I'm very, very excited for this game, which I was never expecting. And it turns out I'm excited for the actual game and not just the fact that Fox and company are in it.
It looks like a solid space game.
I was convinced when Andre at Game Explain said that he wanted to play more. That's how I knew. I was like, this might be a good game.
Maybe there's something to it. I still don't like. is there anything else that I should know other than the fact that, like, okay, the gameplay looks nice?
It's a single-player adventure. Sink your teeth into it. I think
It's got Star Fox.
I can't remember
Buy
if they
it.
said there was 6 planets or 9 planets, but they're like completely developed and designed.
Right. It's not like,
But they're big.
like No Man's Sky, where it's like, okay, here's the, you know, a template, and then we just kind of, you know, copy that template over, you know, an entire planet.
Yeah, but it's all seamless like No Man's Sky. You can jump to space. You can fly down to a planet. I really
Right.
like that, especially with the context of Star Fox on top of it. This feels like what a Star Fox game should have become, you know, post 2005.
And maybe this will inspire Nintendo. Maybe they'll see this and they'll see like, oh wait, why didn't we think about this before? And then maybe in a few years, we'll get a really stellar Star Fox game.
I imagine that's kind of what sparked this collaboration in the first place. They saw the potential for what Star Fox could be, and they're like, let's attach Star Fox to this and see how people respond. But
Seems like it's pretty good so far.
well, the fact that Ubisoft is they're making a Toys to Life game, which has a negative connotation to it for the majority of people. But what they're doing is different. They're making a good game first and then selling you toys.
But also, you don't have to have the toys.
Yeah, you can buy them digitally, which is great. And when you buy a physical toy, you get a digital version of the toy on your system that lasts for a week so that you can play multiplayer. But when you scan it again, apparently the week will renew.
Oh.
Okay.
So essentially you get 2 versions of every one physical item you buy, which as far as I know, they cost the same digitally and physically. So technically you're getting more if you buy it physically.
Right.
So I really like where this is going. Even Moogles in the chat says Starlink looks actually good, even ignoring the Star Fox portions. So I know, Paul, you pre-ordered it too, right?
Yep.
So
I'm looking forward to it.
yeah, I think Paul and I are gonna have some good things to say when this comes out. I'm very excited to see what it ends up being. That said, I'll call this part the Great RPG segment. There is like one game in here, or like a set of games in here that aren't RPG, but boy, there are a lot of them. The World Ends With You Final Remix, borrowing its naming scheme from Kingdom Hearts. I'm excited for that. It's a great game on DS that I never got to play, and there's a new story chapter that takes place after the end of the plot. And if I remember right, I've heard people say the game ends on a cliffhanger, so this might be that resolution finally.
Yeah.
Also, it'll be great to play it in HD, and I think they redid all the music too.
Okay.
Also, I'll tie this in really quick. I started Dream Drop Distance yesterday, and in the first world, which is Traverse Town, Neku, the main character of The World Ends With You, is the character you meet there, along with some of his friends. So The World Ends With You at a crossover with Kingdom Hearts, and I got to play it kind of around the right time, where I'll get to go back then and play
And
The
now
World
you're
Ends With You.
invested.
Yeah, now I'm ready. I'm going to go play The World Ends With You when that comes out.
I have no context for this game other than the fact that it was released on the DS and a lot of people like it.
I know there's some kind of world-bending event where people have expiration dates that constantly count down on their hands or something. That's all I know. But the name makes sense under that context. On top of that, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Torn of the Golden Country, takes place 500 years before the main story. It is available September 21st. However, if you bought the expansion pass, it'll be available tomorrow for you. So that's awesome. Also, The World Ends With You has a co-op mode for 2 people to play at the same time, according to Moogles. So another incentive to buy that game.
Yeah.
And this is about where my internet crapped out for a few minutes. And so I didn't even see a lot of this information. Thankfully, this was a lot of smaller information, except all the Final Fantasy stuff. Oof.
So they gave us a sizzle reel for games coming out soon, that have come out, or coming out in 2019. We got Warframe, which is coming out. It's a free FPS game like Destiny, is how I've heard it compared.
FPS. Not it.
Or is it
It's
not an
third
FPS?
person.
Oh, okay. Well, it's a shooter, and it just at all. But That's coming to Switch.
What's your negativity, Logan?
Well, I'm just clarifying. I played Warframe. It plays very, very, very well.
And it's free to play too, I think.
Yes, free to play.
Just Dance 2019, because of course. FIFA 19, Team Sonic Racing, which people seem to not care about at all. NBA 2K19, NBA Playgrounds 2, Lego DC Supervillains.
Yay!
So, just a lot of that.
Yeah, the two things I am most interested in from these are NBA Playgrounds 2, because I'm a big fan of the smaller, more zany basketball games, and then Team Sonic Racing. I like what I've seen of Team Sonic Racing.
For me, it's probably Warframe and Team Sonic Racing.
I can see that. Yeah, Warframe definitely, like, I'd play Warframe. I'd at least give it a try. I mean, there's no reason not to if it's free to play.
And then here is the great dump of Final Fantasy. Something that John at Game Explain predicted, and I just don't know how. But boy, did he predict this. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Remastered. We knew about that. Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition. We knew about that. World of Final Fantasy Maxima coming November 6th. That was new. Final Fantasy 12 The Zodiac Age coming out next year. Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 9, Final Fantasy 10, 10-2, all in 2019. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Final Fantasy games coming.
But you didn't even mention Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon.
Oh, I glossed over that. Yes, Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon 2.
Is that like
that just a mystery
dungeon?
Is that a Mystery Dungeon game with Chocobo?
I think that's its own series, so it might be. Moogle's in the chat. Rip Final Fantasy 13. Or 8, excuse me.
That was the cutoff point.
Apparently, from what I understand, these are more of the celebrated Final Fantasy games. I don't know what that says about 8, but I'm glad Final Fantasy 7 is coming. I hear about that game all the time, and I've never gotten to play it.
I can finally
Are we just getting in its original form?
It's an HD remaster of the original game, I believe.
Okay, I'm okay with that. I've never played it.
Game.
Yeah, and that's the one. Like when I think of Final Fantasy, I think of Final Fantasy 7, even though I've never played it, because that's the Final Fantasy game.
Yeah, I mean, it was the first Final Fantasy game not on a Nintendo system, and it's finally coming to a Nintendo console after all this time. Cloud is a Nintendo character, confirmed. No. Yeah.
This will hold us over until the actual remake never happens.
Like, Nintendo didn't have any of these Final Fantasy games from what I recall, so this is a big deal. Like, Square Enix and Nintendo, I think they finally shook hands. Do you know and Smash anybody? Speaking of Smash, they've officially revealed the Smash bundle that leaked like 2 weeks ago, I want to say.
I didn't even know that leaked.
Oh, it leaked all right.
Fun.
People thought it was fake until the Splatoon bundle, or the Let's Go bundle, was announced, because the artwork was the same on the side of the box in the end. But you'll get a Switch dock that has the original 8 Smash characters on it, which I think is really cool. And then a really ugly set of Joy-Cons.
Oof.
Sorry, just gonna throw that out there.
I think it looks fine.
It'll match your Special Edition Pro controller.
That's also ugly.
Between both of these bundles, between the Smash bundle and the Let's Go Pikachu Eevee bundle, Nintendo is going to murder the holiday season.
They have stacked their holiday game.
Oof. When they were like, yeah, we're going to sell 20 million in the next fiscal year, and I was like, what are you doing? That's insane. You can't make predictions like that. And then
just wait till holiday 20.
You guys don't understand. Like, that's lowballing it.
That bundle comes out November 2nd, comes with Super Smash Bros. As a download. I'm assuming the download won't be available until December 7th. Because otherwise I'm going to have to go buy another Switch.
It'll be like a pre-order.
Yeah. So that's cool. But that wasn't the end of the Direct, because there was one more thing. Turns out maybe a little bit more than one more thing.
Yeah.
I mean, he framed it as one more thing. Because they're essentially one thing.
Right.
We got a new character announcement trailer for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate being Isabelle.
Monster Hunter!
Shut up, Paul.
Isabelle...
Let me have it!
Isabelle has been a character I've seen in polls, and a lot of people have been asking for. And the general assumption amongst the public was that she was going to be an Echo Fighter. But Isabelle is a newcomer. She has an original moveset, borrowing some moves from Villager, but not very many. She has a fishing pole. She can fish you out of the water. That's
like the first thing you mentioned to me after like all of it. You're like, she's got a fishing pole. I'm so...
Let me tell you, like, I love fishing in video games, specifically. I loved fishing in Animal Crossing. I loved fishing in Twilight Princess and Ocarina of Time. Like, if you give me an open world video game or like an adventure video game and you throw some fishing in there, I'm in. Like, it's just something I'm gonna do. I don't know. I just like doing it. So the fact that Isabelle's got a fishing pole in her moveset, 10 out of 10 new main. Sorry, Ike, you're out the door. So what do you guys think of Isabelle? I personally thought this was unexpected. Context of it was unexpected.
Yes. Not my guess for which character would be revealed today, but still a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't feel too surprising, like, in retrospect, but I don't know.
In the full context of the one last thing, this is the only way they could have done it.
Yeah. But for her to be a newcomer is still, like, would never thought that would happen. But it did. Yeah. And I'm happy about it.
I'm very happy that Isabelle is there. And
you already got your amiibo ready to go, right?
Yeah. Except I don't have Isabelle.
Oh.
But
then you don't have it ready to go. Close enough.
Can we talk about the presentation of that trailer, though?
It was so good. And no one died.
Everyone lived. It was like...
The whole time I was watching it, I'm like, which is it? Is it Smash? Or is it a new Animal Crossing?
Can I make a correction? Because somebody did die, but it wasn't until the final announcement. And that person who died was me. I died.
Well, I'm glad you found a deep friend.
We'll get to that in a second. I do want to talk about just like the presentation of the trailer really quick. I think it was adorable. It perfectly captured what people love about Isabelle, is that she's a hard worker. She cares about doing her best. And she received a letter from Pete. Everything was in text boxes. It was like watching someone play Animal Crossing, just like in the context of the game, which I thought was fantastic. And then
she got an actual invite to Smash.
She pulls out that letter and she's like, they want me in Smash, and she's surprised by it.
I love that, though. That means that everybody actually gets a little letter in the mail inviting them to be in Smash.
And more Animal Crossing is never a bad thing. It's actually, it's always a good thing.
Well, I mean, think about it. Like, Animal Crossing didn't get character representation in Smash Brothers until Smash 4. And Animal Crossing's been around since the Nintendo 64. That's really late. That is really late. So I think Sakurai did a good deed by giving Animal Crossing a second rep in Smash Ultimate as a newcomer of all things. So good stuff.
But they missed the real villain of the franchise.
Yeah, and Animal Crossing is just a huge franchise. It really is. Like, I think New Leaf sold over 12 million. So did Wild World on the 3DS and DS respectively. And obviously handhelds are huge in Japan. So I can't imagine that Isabelle's probably... I can imagine that there's a lot of Japanese players who are very happy about this announcement.
She's pretty popular here too. Like,
oh yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, it's just Sakurai once again giving people characters they want. Crafty in the chat says, "Wait, how did they get Snake's address to get him a letter?" They just called him in a codec call. That's all it was.
Yeah.
I mean, you watched the Brawl trailer, right? That's actually what happened.
I mean, you send the letter to Otacon, and he does the rest.
Well, Colonel did it the first time. But Otacon probably did it the second time, because the voice of the Colonel is no longer with us. And sounds like Konami, Kojima, and such have no plans of ever reintroducing the Colonel ever again, as out of respect for the voice actor's life. And I'm talking about the Japanese voice actor, not the American one.
Sucks for the American voice actor because he just lost his job.
Yes.
And that gig's on and off anyway. He had other work.
In the Brawl trailer, he was voiced by the guy who voices the grandpa in Ben 10. That's all I remember. But they made sure to tell us to stay all the way to the end of the Nintendo Direct because there was one more thing, actually. We get a video of Tom Nook sitting at his computer watching the Nintendo Direct along with us. Struggling to turn his light on. Yeah, Diablo happens again. You know, gotta make sure to tease Diablo. He turns his lamp on, and then he turns to the viewer. And he just talks about how happy he is for Villager and Isabelle being in Super Smash Brothers. It's like, yeah, you know, I'm happy for my friends, but I gotta make sure they have a great home to come home to. And then it just zips to another screen. Animal Crossing 2019.
Animal Crossing 2019
and then Logan starts
for
crying.
the Switch. It's finally coming. It's finally here, guys. We don't have to worry anymore. Everything's gonna be okay because Animal Crossing is coming to the Switch, and I'm so happy about it.
I think it coming out in
really not that
2019
exciting.
was a given, but it's nice to finally know.
Yeah, I'm very happy.
And like Paul
I'm
said
happy
earlier,
for it.
they framed the presentation of this announcement really well.
You know,
Had
this
to
is
be the order that they did. It had.
this is how we anticipated like every reveal would be.
Like at E3, yeah, we talked about it a lot.
Yeah.
And finally, it happened. It happened here. Like, I would have expected Ridley and Dark Samus to be announced alongside Metroid Prime 4, but the game's just not far along enough for that.
I can't wait to see HD KK and HD Isabelle. Well, I guess we already saw HD Isabelle and HD Tom Nook.
On Pocket Camp, actually. They're in HD on Pocket Camp.
That doesn't count.
They're in
He looks
HD.
so
I could have said Amiibo Festival.
He looks so disgusted when you
I
said
said
that.
the better game.
Stop.
I
That
actually
doesn't
like
exist.
Pocket Camp.
Pocket Camp's all right, but it's not.
Now it ties
not
in
supposed to
with your
be.
main series game.
The thing they
what I
told
There
us
you
like
go.
3 years ago or whatever. So
By the time the game finally came,
they didn't show us any kind of gameplay or anything at all, but it is slated for 2019, and I believe it will come out in the summer. Because New Leaf came out in July of 2013, and it just makes sense that they would stick to that time period. I wouldn't want to start Animal Crossing for the first time in the middle of winter, you know, because the season affects your
No.
game too.
Yeah.
So start me in summer. That just makes the most sense. Yeah, so Animal Crossing finally got announced. They announced two, well, I'd say one major first-party game and then a second pretty good first-party game being Luigi's Mansion 3. So they had two pretty big announcements in here, just directly from Nintendo, which is more than I was expecting.
also like suddenly 2019 is looking to be a great year.
Yeah, let's take a deeper look at that. We've got Yoshi, Fire Emblem, Metroid Prime 4, Animal Crossing 2019. Jesus, there's more.
Luigi's Mansion was 2019, right?
Luigi's Mansion.
And then from there you can dive into all these third parties. You have all those Final Fantasies,
Pokemon. That's already 6 months out of 12 that they've got filled in for first-party games. And that's not counting games we don't know about yet. And there was one game I left out because I wasn't sure if it would come out next year, but that was Pikmin 4. A game that is still supposedly close to being done 2 years after Miyamoto said that. And I believe him. I believe that game's being made. And they clarified that it wasn't Hey Pikmin, so it's coming. That's at least
okay with
7
that.
first-party games coming out next year, assuming Metroid Prime makes the cut and that, you know, Pikmin comes at all. Still, like, 2019, they have already surpassed 2018 in terms of, you know, quantity and quality of releases, I think.
I would agree.
2018
Yeah.
is relatively dry. Like, all year we've been waiting for them to tell us about all the games that are coming out this year, and it just never really happened. That said, Super Mario Party, Let's Go Hey You Pikachu, Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, and Smash Ultimate are games I look forward to.
Those are the only games I need.
Yeah.
Oh, and Dream Drop's reminding me of Bayonetta 3, which is also likely to be 2019. So we're at 8 games now.
Oof.
That's a stacked year for first-party releases.
Yeah.
So if you didn't like 2018, I think you're going to like 2019 just fine. Remember Star Fox Grand Prix, that game that supposedly exists? They still, if it's real, they haven't talked about it yet.
Yeah.
I'm still hoping.
Also, we're essentially going to be starting out 2019 with Smash.
Yeah, when you really think about it, we are. And if that game gets DLC, which I'm currently of the opinion that it will not, you can fight me about that. If it does get DLC, that's going to carry us for 6 or 7 months with.
If it gets DLC, great. If it doesn't need it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's just the fact that it's Smash, and we're going to play that game indefinitely.
Here we are 4 years later, still playing Smash 4. Here we are, what is it now, like 17 years later, still playing Melee.
Yeah.
So I think that game's going to last a long time. I still play Mario Kart. And Splatoon 2.
Yep.
Heck yeah, man.
I have too many hours in Splatoon 2. Well, too many is relative. I don't have the most, but I have quite a bit.
So that pretty much covers it for this Nintendo Direct. What do you guys think of it? Logan, give me a grade.
This is a pretty easy 10 for Logan.
That's 10 for you?
Literally just because
he cried. It's a 10.
I cried. Brandon, I mean, did you see
I saw the reaction. You might have the most bombastic reaction on the internet.
I want Animal Crossing, and that's all I wanted. That's all I've wanted ever since the Switch launched. I was like, when are they going to announce Animal Crossing? When are they going to announce Animal Crossing? And they finally did it, and now it's coming. And I can't wait until 2019 comes and I can play Animal Crossing for my Switch.
So it's a solid 10 for you. What do we got from you, Paul?
Well, I'm gonna switch up the grading scale and just give it a B. It's above average.
Okay.
I don't have a positive experience with Animal Crossing yet, because I've only played like the worst one in the series,
City Folk.
And so I'm excited to try this one out, but I still don't have like that hype for it quite on your level, and so B.
So in your case, it's you're excited about the prospect of being someone who enjoys.
I'm excited by a lot of prospects here.
Yeah,
but there's nothing in particular that's like do all end all for me. Nothing that got me quite as hyped as when they announced Smash earlier this year.
So I was pretty into this Direct because they announced a lot of things that I am into. Like Luigi's Mansion 3 was a fantastic way to start out a show for me because I love Luigi's Mansion 1. I like Luigi's Mansion 2. It seems like Next Level's working on 3, so I hope that I like it more than I like Dark Moon.
Yeah.
That said, the Splatoon 2 updates look great. I'm excited about Katamari, Super Mario Party, Yoshi, City Skylines, Daemon X Machina, the Asmodee tabletop games, Starlink, The World Ends With You.
You're right, B+.
Several of the Final Fantasy games I'm interested in, including Crystal Chronicles, which I've already teamed up with Josiah and company to play.
Good.
And then Isabelle in Smash I was excited for, and then obviously topping it off with Animal Crossing was a big selling point for me.
Yeah. And I should say, Animal Crossing wasn't the only thing I was excited for, obviously.
No, when you go back and you look at this list of games, there's some great stuff. Yeah,
it's stacked. This was
That's
a great
good
Direct.
list.
Yeah. I loved just hearing that New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe is a thing.
Oh, yeah, I'm probably going to buy that.
Yeah. Katamari Damacy reroll was huge for me. City Skylines was pretty big. Daemon X Machina, the Asmodee digital stuff. Yeah, this was just wow.
I can't afford
this was a
all
great
this.
Direct. I know. I know.
My wallet is screaming, and that's how.
But I feel like that's the problem that anybody would want. It's like, oh, I can't afford everything I want for this system.
There's too many good games.
It's a different experience, you know, than being a Wii U owner back when that was a thing.
There's no good game.
Yeah, you remember when Nintendo at the start of the Switch, they were like, we are not going to have any droughts.
And so far, I think they've lived up to that statement.
Yeah, I don't think we have not.
2017
there have been
has had
times
some
where
spots.
it's been a little bit slower in 2018.
Or
But
2018,
we still,
excuse me.
yeah, well, we still have gotten things consistently, smaller titles, more ports, and all that good stuff.
Okay,
They have
guys, Smash
third-party
Bros?
support. I think they legitimately have third-party support.
Yeah,
Definitely.
it seems. I mean, we don't get every game.
When's
but
the
we get
last time you could
a
say that
ton.
and confidently believe that we're in a state where third parties are teaming up with Nintendo and
Right.
actually delivering the games that people want to play?
Right.
Like, you got EA on their side. The EA is still releasing their games, and, you know, as much as I don't play those games particularly, there's still a huge market for them. I went to the midnight
specifically
release.
with FIFA.
Yeah, with FIFA. I went to the midnight release of Spider-Man, and 75% of the people there were for 2K, not for Spider-Man. I was in the small
For
line.
Switch?
Well, not for Switch, but just in general.
Yeah.
So, as much as I don't care for those games, I can't ignore the fact that they make money.
There's a market for them. There's
And-
a very large market.
Switch has got them. And obviously Switch is getting a lot of older games, and there are a lot of detractors who be like, oh, Switch is getting a bunch of old games. But,
A lot of Nintendo people who haven't played those games.
well, there's that, but they're also portable. A lot of them are portable for the first time. There will be a time and a day when Capcom announces Resident Evil 4 for Nintendo Switch, and I'm going to play that game in bed. That's awesome.
Or on the toilet. Or on the toilet, the most significant place to play a portable game. Until your feet fall asleep, and then you're like, oh, crap.
Yeah. So, like, I think if you're not so hot on Switch right now, you need to take a hard look about what's happening, because there's some great stuff going on. Nintendo is definitely on the up and up from the Wii U era, and just in general, like, they're winning back some third parties, making great partnerships with people like Capcom and EA and Ubisoft, which they're doing games with right now. Like, we're in good shape. I'm
Definitely.
very excited for the next few years of Nintendo products. So
Take my money.
that all said, I'm going to give this Direct probably a solid 8.5.
So a B.
A B, yeah. I mean, they gave me Luigi's Mansion 3, which is a game I was hoping would happen. It's coming out on Switch, which is what I was also hoping would happen. They finally let me know that Animal Crossing is on the way. They announced some Final Fantasy games I want to play, including Final Fantasy VII. Just a bunch of other stuff that I'm into. Like, if I'm going to dock points, it's because of Nintendo Switch Online. Like, honestly, like,
It probably deserves it at this point, let's be honest.
that's the only part of the Direct where I was like, oof, they did not handle
If you weren't
this.
going to tell us anything new, then you shouldn't have even put it in the Direct.
Yeah, and like I said before, they made a sequel to that Parental Controls Bowser and Bowser Jr. video using the same animations and same style, and it was all to tell me stuff that made me very unhappy. I think that Parental Controls video just has like a ton of views on it.
It's adorable.
So how cute it is,
It
yeah.
was so good.
So
It's like nobody needs to know this except parents. But then everybody's watching it because, like, oh,
You're seeing
Bowser and
good
Bowser
Daddy,
Jr.
Good Bowser Dad.
that's this Nintendo Direct. When's the next Nintendo Direct gonna happen?
Tomorrow.
Yes.
Please?
I mean, we've had times where there was just directs like 1 or 2 weeks apart. Wasn't there a time where we had like 3 directs in the span of a month? One was like a full direct, there was an ARMS direct, and then a Splatoon 2 direct.
Something like
You're
that.
probably right. I want to say there was an ARMS Splatoon 2 direct that was just like one direct
like a
about
combo
those
direct?
two.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe it was 2
Well, that's a
back to
good-
back then.
That's a good question. What's the next?
What's the record?
What's the next game-specific direct that we're getting that's not Smash?
I was gonna say Smash.
I think it's just going to be Smash, honestly. I don't think there needs to be a direct for Pokemon Let's Go. I think the way they're handling information distribution is great. Just a little bit every week or so. The only games that they could honestly do aren't even coming out this year. And they only do game-specific directs like when they're a month or two out from launch and they have some important stuff to tell you. So honestly, despite saying besides Smash, the answer is Smash. As to when I expect that to happen, very late October through the end of November is like the time period where that will happen.
Yeah.
They have to happen. It has to happen before review copies for Smash come out because people will leak that stuff to the internet. And Sakurai is pretty much come out and said that they're making sure that doesn't happen just by telling us everything. Which is sad that he has to do that, but I understand his reasoning. Like, if Smash comes out and they haven't told us the whole roster, I'm going to find out the roster before I get my hands on the game. That's just a fact. So to get to experience that joy of seeing what the new character is with millions of other people on the internet, that's great. Just keep doing that.
Yeah.
So that's my anticipation for the future of Nintendo Directs for the next couple months. We might get another major Direct sometime in December through February. It seems like Directs are coming around like every 3 or 4 months now, at least the general ones. Because I remember, like, last year, or I guess it's still this year, the beginning of this year, remember how long we waited for that holiday direct? And we didn't get it until March? Right? It was a long time.
I think so, yeah.
We had a direct mini, and then everyone got mad because it was direct mini, and then eventually we got a regular direct. And that was the one that announced Smash Brothers. Yeah, that was the March direct.
That was worth it. Yeah. It was worth it.
So we had one in March. We had one in June for E3, obviously. We had one here in September. So, yeah, like every 3 months or so. So there you go. If we're following trends, which Nintendo seems to do sometimes, that's all we can go off. So with that, just a couple things to plug. I said it at the beginning of the show. We will be at the Chicago Best Buy Super Smash Bros. Event on Saturday. Presumably, for most of it. I don't know. Like, who really knows, honestly? So
we'll find out.
You'll see us. We'll be wearing our Break Room Arcade t-shirts, so you can point us out. Please come up and say hi if you want to. Don't be afraid. We'd love to meet you guys. If we can, we'll probably be shooting some videos, maybe do some vlog stuff, and if they let us shoot inside the building, we'll get some Smash videos up for you guys so you can see us play. So just wanted to clue you in on all that. Make sure to join us in our Discord. Link is in the description if you want to keep talking about the Direct.
About Animal Crossing.
Talk to Logan about Animal Crossing. It's a fairly active server as of right now. Lots of channels, lots of people discussing Nintendo and other things. So go in there, subscribe and like the video if you haven't yet to find out what we're doing next. We always appreciate it when you guys do that. And if you really like what we do here and want to support us, there's also a link to our Patreon. You can donate as little as $1 a month, and we'd really appreciate that as well. But if you don't, we still love you. We're just happy you're here. We love talking about games. Love talking about Nintendo, so we're glad that we can do that together with you guys. Thank you for joining us, Crafty. It was nice to have you here. And thank you for the subscription. So we were on break with the Breakdown Podcast last Monday, but we will be back this coming Monday to tell you about all the TVs, movie, game stuff that we've been doing over the last couple of weeks. The format is probably going to change a little bit over the next couple of weeks as we get used to the time difference. So bear with us as we kind of go through this transition period. If you missed the last episode of the Breakdown Podcast, it was a very special episode with the voice actor of Rivali in The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Sean Chiplock. It was absolutely great to have him on the show. He had a lot of great insight for viewers about his experiences as a Rivali and as a voice actor in general. So make sure to check that out if you haven't yet. I think that is one of our finest shows. It was definitely a great experience for me.
Oh, yeah.
So with all of that in mind, sorry, that's so much to plug. This is what it's like to be a YouTuber, guys. So with all that in mind, we'll see you guys next time. Don't break your backs, break in the games. But for now, break time's over.